Hello, and thank you for listening to Building Your T-Shirt Empire. My name's Cole, and today we have Griff from Combat Flip Flops. Griff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name's Griff, former Army Ranger in the military, did a whole bunch of stuff downrange. Got out and I saw thing that would best promote security and safety in these areas was business. And the one thing that people can generally make everywhere is clothing and apparel because everybody needs shoes and everybody needs clothes. So that you typically find tailors and cobblers wherever you go, regardless of the developing nation status or first world status of a country. Um, so we started a fashion and clothing company making flip flops in a combat boot factory in Afghanistan, and uh, now we make our flip flops in Bogota, Colombia. We make sarongs and scarves and chamas and other products in Afghanistan. We make jewelry out of landmines in Laos, and we print and sell our t-shirts right here in the U.S. So that's been a fun little adventure. And I'm also working with Andrea Lake on Teacher. She was a great mentor to me as I started this business. Her and Dan Caldwell, primarily Andrea, and she's just been there to help us out along the entire way. And she's probably the primary reason our apparel line has been successful is because of the work that we've done with her and Teacher.
Yeah, she was really great when she was just on. She's like, it's such a wealth of knowledge and experience. So, the name of your company is Combat Flip Flops. Were you on Shark Tank?
We were on Shark Tank. Yep.
Hey, we got to go into that a little bit. What was that experience like? How much was it edited down? What is the truth of Shark Tank?
So our Shark Tank experience is a little bit different than most because it's like 55 to 65,000 companies apply per
Hmm.
year. They down select the 200, fly like 175 to film, film 165, 70, air 150. Half of those get deals on air, so you're looking at 75, and half of those deals that close on air close through due diligence. So like 35 companies a year out of 55 to 65,000 companies actually do deals with sharks, right? So the math is quite staggering.
Yeah.
Um, and we didn't even apply.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they called us, which so it was really interesting. So we recognized the opportunity
Yeah.
for what it was, and we trained like we were training for a special operations mission, and we went down there like a good old Ranger raid. We got in, got what we wanted, and got out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the whole production crew is unbelievable. The sharks were awesome. We were probably in the tank for an hour 45, and it got edited down, I think, like 9 minutes, maybe. There was a lot of gold in there, but like if you search YouTube, like the best Shark Tank moment, I think it brings up one of our moments
Oh, yeah.
in our pitch, which was a good time, and we ended up walking out with three sharks: Mark Cuban, Damon John, and Laurie Grenier.
That's
And Mark's team has just been spectacular. They've been super helpful to us, especially during the time of COVID. Really helping their companies navigate all the loans and all the programs that are available for small businesses. And so we couldn't be happier to work with them. Mark's a great dude, great organization, and we're super thankful to have had that experience 4 years ago, and it's still paying dividends today. So we're
Yeah,
thankful.
that sounds like an amazing opportunity. I couldn't imagine having that kind of credibility behind my business. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like you look at some companies who do it, that's like front and center on their website. And there are other
Hmm.
companies who are like it's somewhere buried. And then there's other companies like where you can't find it on their website at all. And we're the third,
Yeah,
you know, you know, like it helped. Like we're super thankful for the experience, but like we're more than just a Shark Tank company.
yeah. Well,
And yeah.
absolutely. And what is it that you think makes you more than just a Shark Tank company? And you're not just surviving off reruns, but you're an active, like successful e-commerce platform.
You said it, we're an active, successful e-commerce platform. We don't rely on that as our crutch. We use it as a stepping stone to get where we needed to do to collect all the information and the emails that we needed in order to market appropriately and then drive our business forward profitably.
Break that down a little bit for the people who are, on the beginner side of it. What does that look like for a one-man band trying to make, that first 10K a month?
Um, Email is king.
Yeah.
Like if anybody's lying, like don't follow the shiny ball. Don't answer those emails that are hitting your inbox. We can get you 10,000 ROAS on your advertising. Like don't follow that shit. All you need to do is make a quality product, collect email addresses, and then communicate to your customers in a clear, honest way that motivates them back to your website to buy your product. So email is the number one thing that will drive your business, your online e-commerce business. That's how you can communicate to your customers without paying the big dogs like Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and all those other cats. Like if you get an email, Now you're directly talking to the person, and you can be as effective as you need to be. And so we drove more business and more users through our website in 36 hours than we did in our entire company history because of Shark
Mm.
Tank. And we harvested all that information, and then we rinsed and repeated it, analyzed it, broke it down, marketed appropriately to get, better return on ad spend on our own internal marketing efforts through the big dogs like Facebook and Instagram and all those other cats.
Mhm.
But for us, the primary thing for that was the traffic and the emails. Like, you got to be capturing emails. Have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the email systems, are you what's your kind of mindset with it? Are you let's send an email every single day? Do you believe in doing it weekly? How do you make
Uh,
sure you don't end up in that spam folder, even if they do like your product?
so, we like the majority of people on these days are on Gmail. And whether you like it or not, Gmail's got a great filter that drops all of your promotions over into their promotions folder.
Mhm.
So they're just going to keep their business in their inbox and their promotions in their promotions folder. So it's just one of those things that, but when somebody goes to the promotions folder, like, is your email standing out in the promotions folder? Is your headline and tagline clippy enough? Is your return email address clippy enough to get them to click in amongst those 50 other emails that are in there?
And do
And
you
so
now have a whole team working on that at this point?
no, there's just 5 of us in our company, right? And
Oh,
we've
wow.
got, yeah, we're a 5-person team. We're 10 years old. We just focus on, staying small and staying nimble and staying aggressive. And we focus on product development, come out with new products, try to deliver an email once a week. And then everything else after that is just our flows. So our welcome customer email flow, our abandoned cart flow, our browse abandonment flow, our win back series flow, all of those things that you time in with relevant messages for your customer to just maintain a touch point and consistency for them.
Moving on to the production side, because it is overseas, how are you managing quality control in other countries?
It's a mix, a lot of the times, specifically our footwear, which makes up the majority of our revenue, our operations manager will fly there. We do everything through G Suite or Google Workplace.
Mhm.
So video chats, Google Meet, photos back and forth all the time, visual inspections, video inspections. If we need to hire independent third parties to go check stuff out, we will. But you can do a lot now digitally that you just weren't able to do even 5 years ago. And 3 or 4 DHL overnight shipments of samples for quality control is a lot less expensive than sending one round trip ticket to whatever country we need to go to. So
Yeah,
we just focus on, like, hey, just a really good DHL relationship, and send the products here. We're going to take a look at them. We're going to hop on a video chat, and we're going to go through what we need you to do. And if you don't do what we need you to do, you just don't get paid for the product that you're building. It's
yeah.
really that simple. People like getting paid. Yeah.
How did you source these production facilities to begin with? And like, how did you know people were trustworthy on day one?
Time in the military, I guess.
Yeah.
So you learn to read people pretty
Okay.
well. We started with a combat boot factory in Afghanistan that was ran by a former Marine captain. So I had a level of, you know, a level of trust in him in order to be able to pull through, and he delivered for us. And then, typically we go to these factories, we meet the folks, and then it's our mantra is fail cheap, learn fast.
Yeah.
Fail cheap, learn fast. Like, develop a product, see if it works. Don't throw all your eggs in one basket. If it works, you can make more. If it doesn't work, cut it, let it go, move on to the next one. And that's just what we do in Colombia. Like, we got hooked up through a consultant at a trade show who introduced us to a couple businesses, and then my brother flew down there. Our landmine jewelry, we met with a company in New York that is doing millions of dollars of business in high-end jewelry, and we said, hey, we want a more affordable line. Can you make it for us? And they did, and they've delivered ever since. Our t-shirt printers are actually the toughest ones to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, they just are.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good until COVID hit, and I think there's just a lot of issues that are coming around with everybody in the t-shirt industry right now. So we're really trying to be empathetic to the manufacturers and how they have to change up their workplaces in order to be able to fit all the people through. They're dealing with supply chain issues in the same way that we are. So decks and styles and sizes go out of stock all the time, and it used to be frustrating when it would happen like once a month, and we get really upset about it. And now it's happening like once or twice a day.
Yeah.
And we can't be frustrated with it. We just need to change our system and how we change up our products. And it goes all the way through to the thing of like, hey, we're doing a Bella canvas deck.
Right.
and on this color gray, and that went out in a size large, which is our #1 popular size. And we had to order samples, we had to hire models, get in the photography, edit the photos, get everything up on the website, and that takes time and money. And all of a sudden that product just went away. Now we have to order a new one and do it all over again. So it's just a challenge, but that's something that everybody's got to deal with. And if you're going to be successful right now, like, you have to deal with it more effectively than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely hit us in the exact same way with companies like Bella Canvas just not having stock because of issues overseas. Are your printers stateside, or are they overseas also to save money?
No, our printers are all stateside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we primarily focus in advertising in North America.
Mhm.
So we use print on demand printers, and we, really try to, with the system that we use, we try to pick the printer that's closest to the customer.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so we lower our shipping costs because, I mean, hate to say it, there's just the overall price of a t-shirt has a limit. Like, it's price
Mhm.
elasticity. It's basic economics, right? So, like, how much margin can you build in your shirt to get it to a customer and have them be satisfied with it to buy another one? And there's
Right.
really not that much room to play with. So you got to be really efficient with how you do that.
So you said print on demand. Does that mean your shirts are DTG, or are they doing screen printing on demand?
DTG
Oh, wow.
environment.
And
Yeah.
that's been low enough cost for your margin running it
Yeah,
DTG?
yeah. So our apparel runs anywhere between, depending on the month, anywhere between 10 to 20% of revenue. So
Mhm.
our main products are our footwear and our jewelry and a few other products. And so for us, I view apparel as more of a marketing expense than I do it
Okay.
as a revenue generator,
Yeah.
which is going to be different than a lot of your listeners, right? Like, they want to make money on t-shirt companies, but we have a different product. And so for us, it's how do we increase the average cart value? How do we upsell them in shirts? How do we get them wearing our logo and our brand? So that way, when somebody rolls around wearing a Be a Better Human shirt, they go, oh, that's a cool shirt. And they go, yeah, they make these flip flops too. And then people look at the website and they go and they buy flip flops and then they buy a shirt. So we don't have
Right.
a $25 cart. We have a $75 cart.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do have something like a print on demand system handling the apparel, and then somebody buys footwear that was done overseas, do they ultimately get multiple shipments, or do you have print on demand holding your inventory so that they can ship together? And does that affect your print cost and make it too high? Or not your print cost, your ship cost?
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's like, I look at it as a marketing expense. So they get two separate shipments. Like, we have a warehouse in Florida. So whenever anybody orders multiple packages, they're going to get an information that says, hey, if you ordered a t-shirt, it's going to come through in a second package. It comes right through on the receipt. You're like, we're going to send you separate tracking information. It's going to be there in anywhere between 7 to 14 days. Like,
Uh-huh.
it just, and it says it right on our website as well. These are direct to print. Like, it just takes a while to get to you. And because we communicate so clearly to our customers, they understand and they get it. And yes, we do take it in the shorts a little bit on shipping. But again, I look at it as a marketing expense to
Right.
increase the brand versus the primary revenue driver for our company. But a lot of your customers who are going direct apparel, like, they're all going to send in one solid shipment, so they shouldn't have the same problems we have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we see that problem. We do some YouTubers who want to do products that we don't offer, obviously.
Yeah.
And so we have issues where they'll order something from China, wait 6 weeks, it'll show up at our warehouse, then we're trying to ship it with the apparel that we're already doing for them. And I mean, it's definitely a relatable problem to have multiple locations.
I think the #1 problem I see with that is entrepreneurs and small business owners. They're afraid to pick, pack, and ship themselves.
Hmm.
Like, we started in my garage, 15 feet behind my kitchen.
Right.
We
Just
turned
trying
that
to,
in, like, it sounds odd, but, like, long story. We have a book. If you want to find out more about our company and how we started, and, like, if you want to hear about the most difficult business in the world to start,
yeah.
like, go to our website. It's free right now. It's our COVID gift. Everybody's killing time. Go to our website, get the book for free. We have an audio book for free. Just, you can learn about it. But we started in a 20 by 30 garage making flip flops behind my house after all of our factories failed. And then that turned into
Wow.
our distribution facility after Shark Tank. And we moved millions of dollars of equipment and gear out of a 600 square foot spot.
That's
Like,
so
you
cool.
you just got to be willing to, like, put boxes on a shelf, inventory everything appropriately, learn to use Shopify and ShipStation,
Hmm.
you know, get all your products, all your shipping materials from Uline, and figure out how to organize USPS, FedEx, and UPS to come by your house once a day to pick up all your stuff. It's not hard. All the instructions are on Google. You can
Yeah.
figure it out. I promise. Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of the times when I see people who have been trying to start their business for 2, 3 years straight, there is a lack of just intense energy. Because I know when we started, I was a bit insane and I had to like, be doing stuff at midnight to just keep going and going and going because I couldn't staff up and I couldn't have a lot of overhead, especially in the beginning. So yeah, there's definitely like something really impressive about that grind, and doing it in the back of your house is exactly that example.
Yeah, I mean, there's just two. I mean, the mantra of you have to be willing to work a few years of your life the way most people won't, so that way you can live the rest of your life the way most people can't. It's just, it's it. Like, do you know your business inside and out? And because we went through the process of making flip flops, we went through the process of shipping. When we go to any of our manufacturers, we can literally spray adhesive and sand a flip flop just as good as that manufacturer. And when you, as the buyer, the owner of the company, working with that company, like, if you can make the product just as good as them and you can talk to them, and I'll give you an example. My brother, Andy, put 8,000 individual flip-flops across a sander for 4,000 pair in about 3.5 months. And so when we went down to our manufacturing facility, our new one in Columbia, they're like, oh, it takes 1:45 to sand this. And he's like, no, it takes 47 seconds. And they're like, no, 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 no. And they tried charging us for 1:45. And we know we're going to make thousands of pairs of flip-flops with them. And that time they're charging us for is money.
Yeah, exactly.
And he says, he just grabs a flip flop and he gets on the sander and he bangs it out. He's like, get a clock, right? 47 seconds later, that thing was done. He's like, I'm not paying you for your initial rate. I'm paying you for my rate. And that has translated to savings to us all the way across the line. And when he goes down to a warehouse and looks at how they're pick, packing, and shipping our things, like, he knows dimensional weight. He knows all of these things because he did it. Right. If you're not willing to do it yourself, you're going to get by somebody who's going to take your money to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to work through the process, and it's going to be a couple hours on YouTube, a couple of days of work. It'll be hard. You'll get better. You're going to be fine. Like, learn the process, and then contract it out to somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Did you come into this straight out of the military and then do it full time, or were you working another job? And this initially started as a side hustle.
I got in the military in 2006, and I didn't go full time into combat flip flops until 2013.
Okay.
We had the idea in late 2009. Did all of our prototyping and development and selling all of our belongings to make prototype footwear, right? And just sold a couple guns, sold a couple motorcycles, sold a boat, sold a hot rod, like whatever you need to do. Like, if you're not willing to do all that stuff as an entrepreneur, to start your own business, is to sell all your things that have value in your house because you like them, like, don't start.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put all that stuff up on Craigslist and take cash money for it to start your business, then you might have a chance. And now I got out of the military. I built homes till the market crashed, and then I did a couple other jobs in between. And I was vice president of operations for a equipment repair company that focused on repairing special operations military equipment. And then it just got to a point to where this project wasn't a side project anymore. And people don't commit to you until you commit to it. And so I fully jumped into it in summer of 2013.
How did you end up getting hooked up with Teacher and that whole crew? Because you said that they directly like influenced your business thriving. What was that relationship like?
In May of 2013, so about a month before I made the jump, I was part of a special operations team that was hired by Andrea to go down, and she runs this event in Sedona called Magic, where she brings in all these cool entrepreneurs. And we were there as kind of some instructors, and we were teaching them first aid and wilderness survival skills to entrepreneurs who never done stuff like that. So it was just a cool event. And
yeah,
and in that time, like, while I'm there, I'm going to pick brains. And I sat down with Andrea and just, picked her brain, and she was super helpful and kind and caring and giving. And she gave me a ton of advice, and I just took it and ran with it. And now we've got a business, right? We've been friends ever since. Yeah.
That's great. What was some of those big takeaways that influenced you so much? Do you remember like some specific genius gems that she gave you?
Those probably didn't come in until I got the first iteration of the teacher book. No, I'm gonna go back. Like, just being able to see somebody who started with nothing and made something, and then being able to turn around and to help more entrepreneurs. Like, that's what I wanted to be. So seeing that demonstrated example in life was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very inspiring. And I was like, okay, she can do it, I can do it. And that what one person could do, another can do. And so that was probably the most influential thing that happened. during that event. But then when she did her first iteration of Teacher, which I got in summer of 2015, we were struggling with our apparel section of our business. We were a couple $100,000 in revenue. We bought all these T-shirts we thought were cool. And they sat on my shelves in odd sizes and colors and didn't move for months.
Right.
And then she sent me that book, and I'm like, okay, here's where I'm doing it wrong. Here's how I need to change up my business. And then all of a sudden it started working for us because of a few simple tips and tricks that she gave in that book, anywhere from negotiating to how you get designs done to colors and offerings. It really helped out. And it's just those little things, that 25, whatever, $30 book just adds thousands of dollars in value to you if you're willing to, one, read from the pros and then follow through on their advice.
Was a big part of that killing your darlings? I mean, you talked about having all that inventory and odd colors and odd designs. What is your concept of what a successful design is now that you have repeat orders?
So our best shirt is our Be a Better Human shirt. It's a simple logo. And just be okay with the fact that you're going to make 100 designs and 99 of them are going to fail.
Yeah.
Be okay with that. Be totally fine with that. And that's what we did. And this one that we did is I just hopped on Fiverr. I saw somebody wearing a shirt that said "Be a Nicer Human." And I'm like, that's cool, but I like "Be a Better Human." I like the word better. And so I never used Fiverr before. I hopped on. I found a couple guys with designs that I liked. I'm like, hey, here's this concept that I'm looking for. I want it to be single color. I want it to be easy to print. I want it to be cheap to manufacture. And one guy came back with a design and he just knocked it out of the park. And as soon as he put it on there, it sold. Like Mark Cuban wears it all the time, on his interviews. Like, it's cool. Yeah. And that's our number one selling shirt by far and away. And then we just keep releasing new designs of shirts and we keep dropping them on our emails. But if they don't meet our threshold over a 90-day sales period, I just take that product, I deactivate it, and I don't worry about it anymore. Keep feeding new ones into the machine. And the nice part about print on demand is I'm not buying $3,000 in inventory to have that experiment. I spent $50 in a couple hours on Fiverr, to get a design that might work. You can do all the digital mock-ups and rendering, order a couple samples, take some cool photos in your iPhone, like learn how to shoot photography, get some cheap studio lights, and you're going to be good to go. Yeah. But for us, a successful shirt is one that's profitable, it's moving volume, and then it's the 80-20 rule. We look at 100% of our shirts, what falls in the top 80% in revenue or volume, and we keep those, and we just shit can the rest. Just let them go. Get rid of them. If somebody's, oh, I got this shirt, and like, hey man, that's a unicorn. We only made 50 of those. Be proud of that. Well done. Yeah. Right. Make them feel happy that they got a limited edition product. Yeah. They're collectible now.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. As far as getting rid of them, if you're not holding inventory, it is a really good option to just kill the product on a DTG on demand.
Yep.
Did you come up against any limitations for things you wanted to do with DTG on demand that you just couldn't do because of DTG? Or are you just keeping the art so simple that it doesn't bother you?
No, I mean, like, there's a lot of our stuff now that, we'll get, or Be a Better Human shirt. I'll get 5 of them that look perfect, and I'll get one of them look like somebody put a shitty stencil on it and sprayed it on there. Mm-hmm. And the nice part about DTG is, like, when that happens, they send us a photo, we send it right back to the manufacturer, and they go, yep, we'll get them a new one immediately. And we just write them back, like, just keep that shirt, use as a workout shirt, whatever, we'll get you a new one.
Yeah.
And they take care of it. And that's the nice part about it. It's the warranty process and the customer service process, and it is actually quite nice. Mm-hmm. Conversely, we do have a lot of corporate customers. So, being able to have a reliable printer that you trust, that that can print out 500 to 1,000 shirts quickly and effectively and efficiently, polybag them the way that you want them, label it you want them, is absolutely critical for those types of customers, because those are significant zeros, lower margins, but you're putting in the same amount of work for a digital rendering shirt that's going to sell to 200 customers as you're going to sell to one customer, but 200 products. So you just have to figure out, like, what's your time worth. And so for us, we found that we've just got a really great printer that we have a relationship with, and we need any bulk orders like that.
So you were talking about corporate customers. Are those ultimately going into like brick and mortar, like a PacSun kind of a store, or are they just ordering directly to distribute to employees? What are they doing with them?
Yeah, like so Google and Amazon are our two
Okay.
big customers for that. And so they have great veterans networks. And so, we work with their teams, and if they need a Google VetNet, t-shirt, they'll come to us and print it. We put 10% of the proceeds toward putting little girls to school in Afghanistan. It's a great marketing collab. They buy from a veteran-owned company. We check those little, supplier diversity blocks, and then we go. And so that's a big customer, which you have to mail, different palletized shipments to different warehouses around the country. They have to be marked appropriately, and all of those things in order to make your customer happy. So that way they can distribute them, as swag essentially
Right.
for their employees or their customers. So that's generally how we do, but no, we don't do any retail whatsoever.
And do you feel like there's a missed opportunity not being in stores, or the e-commerce, it goes so well that you don't want to deal with the additional issues with retail?
Yeah, we looked, like I pushed retail for my
Hmm.
company super hard for like 5 years. And when I took a look at as much money as we were spending on travel, meals, entertainment, and then looking at the margins that they want to buy from you, all the packaging requirements, all the system setup requirements, the fees that you get charged if you ship something wrong or mislabeled, what they charge you, and then what you have to do, just the margins aren't there.
Yeah.
They just simply weren't there. And like maybe you've got a great t-shirt design, maybe you're the next Supreme, or the was it the black white, whatever the ones are with the white stripes on. I can't remember the name of that company. Maybe you're that next company, and man, if you are, good on you. But for the majority of us, like just dealing with retail in that area it's time consuming, it's expensive, the margins are low, and then in the end, like you don't get the customer.
Right.
Like you don't get the
They get the
customer.
customer.
They get the customer.
Yeah.
And so we gave up retail in 2017. It's been the best decision we ever made.
Yeah. That's
Actually, second best decision we ever made.
yeah. I mean, I've heard some nightmares with retail from people who actually, they were relatively successful. They were in Nordstrom and stuff. And yeah, you can have some huge losses, even if you don't just move the numbers they're expecting within a certain amount of time. So what are you looking to do with Teacher? I mean,
My job there at Teacher is to, serve as a mentor. We're big into doing live online classes and interactions. Sign up for the course, get into the mastermind group. When you go and you do those things, like we're gonna have live sessions. You get to talk to Dan, you get to talk to Andrea, you get to talk to Daniel DeMassa, you talk to me. Whatever questions you got, like we're there to help. We're here to pass it on. And that's the thing for us is like somebody turned around and they did these favors for me. Like I'm
mhm,
gonna do that favor for somebody else. Like I really want the people who are part of our program who are willing to put in the work. I want you to be successful, and whatever we can do through this online cool platform that's really easy to read and follow through on, like we just want to help.
mhm.
That's just my main goal is I just want to help.
And so you're really trying to create like a T-shirt mastermind. People are feeding off each other and helping each other grow pretty organically.
Yeah, that's it. And I think people are in need of community right now. And
Yeah.
that's just another thing is just we're all quarantined. We're all sitting at our homes. We're all trying to figure out our next steps. And who knows, you might meet somebody really cool that you jive with and you have a 10 or 15-minute conversation, but it's that one little tidbit of knowledge that you needed to get you through that next threshold. And you're happy with it. And the person that gave you that knowledge, when you come back to them, like, look what I did. Like that's to be honest, that's super fulfilling for me is to see
Mhm.
the people that I work with being successful. It really is.
So when is that next mastermind starting up?
You should sign up now because we're going into our mogul course series here pretty soon. So that stuff's going to start hitting here in the next few weeks. So the next big course is going to be signing up here shortly. So go to teacher.com, sign up for the email list. Make sure you sign up for the mastermind, our Facebook group in which we interact with you guys daily. But then all the big courses and interviews are going to start coming through pretty quickly.
I'd love to know what you think or what you see in smaller brands that are starting up that's just really dumb. If you could just give us some examples of why you think people are failing, why they're not getting sales. Sometimes I think hearing why people are bad at things can be really helpful.
I think people are really focused on being too perfect.
Mhm.
Like everybody wants to be Nike. Everybody wants to be Under Armour. Everybody wants those sexy models and those perfectly composed shots. And they want the quippy headlines and taglines that drive people through to their website. And I just got to tell you, the like Those guys have, and then their teams have hundreds of years of experience behind them to make one photo work for one advertisement. Don't be ashamed. That's not you. You don't have that, right? Find out what works. Take your current customers, your current user group, focus down really small, and then communicate with them in a way that communicates your brand. It communicates you. Don't be afraid. The line we have here, memory is cheap, memories aren't. So learn to take a good photo, snap a shit ton of photos, use your organic content, use your Instagram, find out what people are liking, and then figure out what works, and then repeat and improve.
Yeah.
You know, just keep doing it over and over and over again. And people just get so tied to the art, like, oh, this is my shirt. Oh, this is the photo that everybody's gonna love. And it doesn't work. Just because you think
Yeah.
it's gonna work doesn't mean it does. And like there is one, we make a Shema scarf for combat flip-flops. And there's this one photo of me, and I hate being in front of the camera for this stuff, but I'm holding this scarf over my face like a face covering. I hate that photo. I'm
Yeah.
the CEO of the company, and I can't stand that advertisement, but it returns, right? And it was a random shot with a stupid idea that just happened to be perfect timing, and it worked.
Mhm.
Those are the things that you're hunting for as a small business and entrepreneur, is like taking all of those shots. You miss all the shots you don't take, taking all of those shots that don't cost you very much. So fail cheap, learn fast, and just keep repeating. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be.
For social media, do you guys have any sort of fixed rules, like you're going to post twice a day no matter what, or do you have a schedule, or do you just kind of feel it?
I'm going to go back and just tell people the golden age of social media is over.
You think so?
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
I think 2012, 13, 14, when all the platforms started monetizing their platforms,
Hmm.
your engagement goes down, all of these things go down. Like you can quickly spend yourself into bankruptcy trying to advertise, because you have to advertise. Organic content does not work anymore unless you're super funny and viral. It just doesn't work. So for us, you know, we just try to be consistent. So we try to post up cool artistic photos once a day, once every other day. And if we don't have the product in stock, we just pull it down and slide something else in. But it's okay to be quiet. It's okay to not have everything going multiple times a day. I used to be the guys like, we need to post on Twitter 10 times a day. We need
Yeah.
to post on Instagram, 5 times a day. We need to post on Facebook. They did it. And like, in the end, I look at the amount of hours that I was spending doing that versus the amount of revenue it was returning, and it didn't work. The math didn't back out. Focus on what works. Look at your efforts, where they're like, and look at which efforts are driving revenue, improve on those, and then look at everything else. And so for us, social media is just brand. And like, yes, we make money off of social media. We've got our Shopify tied into our Facebook and Instagram stores. Now, if you go to one of our products on our Instagram at Combat Flip Flops and it's tagged, you can click in and you can check out right out of Instagram on there. It's cool. It's nice, but it doesn't return as much as our email list or our other efforts that we push on.
It's amazing how active your email list seems to be, because I've also heard of companies getting, a click-through rate of like 3%. What do you think you're doing so right with the email list?
Our co-founder, Donald Lee, fellow ranger of mine, like he is a DR master. And the thing is just be clear. Like take good product photography, be clear about the message. And the one thing that most people do and that most people fail on is they edit everything on their computer, and they fail to realize that customers look at everything on their phone.
Oh yeah.
If you can't read the text on your phone, you're not going to sell the product. Like our demographic is, 25 to 55-year-old males who have served in and out of the military in like Southern California, Texas, Florida, DC, North Carolina, right? A lot of those guys are older. They have vision problems, sometimes like some issues with color and a few other things. And so like, it's got to be clear. It's got to represent good product value, clear messaging. Don't overpopulate it. You don't need to write a 1,500 word essay on why your t-shirt's cool. 2 sentences at most work. Do that. Like be clear, be cool, be you, right? Communicate that to your customers and like let them do that. And like make it easy for them to click, drive them right to the product. Minimize the number of clicks to the cart. That's what you got to do.
Are you still on like Shopify as you grew, or did you end up on a different platform?
No, we're on Shopify. Like we don't do Shopify Plus, and I mean, I'm sure it's it's great and they've got a whole bunch of features, but regular Shopify with a couple extra apps that are bolted onto it, do we do millions of dollars in business? We
That's
run the
amazing.
we run the company with 5 people. We don't have any other CRM platform other than Google Sheets. Like we use
Wow.
Google Word, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Hangouts, Google Meet, and all that stuff is super cheap. It's like $5 a month per user or whatever it is.
You
Don't
do like a MailChimp flow or something for your email?
No, we use Klaviyo. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I really like Klaviyo. We moved over from MailChimp in mid 2019 is probably the third best decision we ever made as a company.
What do you think is better about it? Because yeah, I just don't know much about it.
I like the way the system works. I like their segmentation. I like how it integrates with Shopify. It enables, once you can build your segments, say like, hey, I want everybody that's bought this Be a Better Human t-shirt, right? Then I create a segment, Be a Better Human t-shirt men's, right? And it's like, oh, okay, hey, you've got 5,000 users that have bought that. And then what you do is you port that back over because Klaviyo integrates with Facebook. And now it can drive your audiences that you're going to advertise to. Go, okay, like here's this list of 5,000 people. And then what you do is you create a lookalike audience, 1%, 2%, 3%. And you go like, this 1% is the person that Facebook thinks looks most like the person who these 5,000 people that have bought these shirts, I'm going to advertise to them. And so what happens is then you start selling more shirts. And then that list of people who have bought that shirts grow in that segment, and it keeps feeding back the information to Facebook, and Facebook keeps refining the algorithm. So then you get a tighter and tighter and tighter user group and increase your conversion rates and your value of the customers. So
What?
it's a really slick system that does that. And I just enjoy how it works. Their support team is badass. I
Yeah,
mean, it's really badass. Like I love the Klaviyo support team. Our account managers are awesome. They're always there to help. There's never been a time where we've had a problem that they haven't been able to fix it for us quickly.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
What kind of like cost per conversion do you expect to get when you have all your systems working all together like that? Is there a goal that you look for a cost per customer acquisition?
So our threshold is $8 CPA, cost per acquisition,
Hmm.
and that's blended across everything. And this year we've been floating anywhere in like the $4 to $5 range.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. You can sell anything at
Yep.
that. So do you end up spending a lot of ad money because you kind of want that infinite growth cycle, or do you limit it?
We limit it, right? So you have to really take a look at like, and this is something you just got to be very mindful of. And we didn't learn this until the last year. So this is the golden egg here. This podcast is, it's really cool that you're selling products, but how much did you spend to sell that product?
Hmm.
And you can very quickly spend yourself out of profitability because Facebook and Instagram, they don't care. They just want your money. And so for us is we have certain ROAS, return on ad spend metrics, and we look at those multiple times per day. And if our advertisements don't fall within those metrics for the 24, 48, 72-hour period, we cut the ad, stop spending money on it, right?
Hmm.
Learn fast, fail cheap, learn fast, right? That's just what it is. We would love to be able to crank up our ad dollars. And I've had multiple conversations with multiple people at Facebook about this, but we found that there's a point when we start cranking our dollars up too high, our return on ad spend falls. So I would rather spend less, be more profitable, than give Facebook my money and make less. I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, it seems like you have a more long-term goal for the company to stay healthy than you do to have rapid growth. Is that true?
Yeah, and again, this is where I failed as a CEO multiple times. Is I pushed for rapid growth hard. Like I am a go fast, press all the buttons, take all the shots, get it going, and that just doesn't work.
Okay.
It just doesn't. Like unless you're willing to go out and go get tons of money from other people and use their money and fall victim to their, to their whims and desires, so that way you can test your idea, right? And just take as many shots as you can to collect all the information. What you need to do is just, again, fail cheap, learn fast, and be profitable. I'd rather run a $1 million company profitable than a $100 million company losing money.
That's great advice. Before we wrap up, if you could just tell everybody your websites and where they can find you, and also how they could be a part of that mastermind.
Yeah, everything is at, well, my company website is combatflipflops.com. Everything on social is at combatflipflops. And then if you guys want to be a part of the most badass like t-shirt mastermind group full of some heavy hitters in the industry. Go to teacher.com, T-E-E, like as in t-shirt, teacher.com. Sign up. We'll send you the emails and we'll get you in the crew.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time. It's been a great podcast. You have so much experience in e-commerce sales.
Thanks, Cole. I appreciate it. I really hope that you guys have a great holiday season. I hope your customers are happy. And I hope if you're listening to this, you guys start putting in the work and making it happen. Best of luck.
One last thing. I have joined with Teacher to offer you guys a discounted rate on their book. Their book is available at teacher.com, and it's called Build a T-Shirt Company. It's a really good book for anyone trying to get to that first $10,000 in sales. A lot of great e-commerce tips in there, along with how to grow into retail. If you would like to get the book, head on over to teacher.com, and the discount code is Cole. That's C-O-L-E. Thank you so much for listening to Building Your T-Shirt Empire.